Okay, well, it looks like we're live now. Give me 1 second, I'll just change the status to public. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Let me edit privacy. All right, okay. Okay, edit it to, here we go. Okay, yeah, it's public now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so namaste and welcome everyone to Vedas Simplified Part 3. And again, we've got the lovely Alkananda Mohapatra with us today, and she'll take us through this. And this time, we're not going to get carried away like Revati did. We're gonna keep track of time. We're limiting this to 1 hour. Oh
Yeah.
God, I know the two of us could go on and on like offline on the phone, but yeah, no, we'll keep it short this time to 1 hour. So yeah, looking forward to what you have to present to us today, Alka. And I know that you have a request that you want me to do open this up with a mantra, so that's
please.
no problem.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it short. It's a Vedic mantra, and I think it's quite nice and appropriate as well. So I'll just start. Oh, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadārya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you so much, Chitra. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So for those who don't understand the meaning, I'll give a quick explanation of the meaning. So it's again, it's a universal prayer. That's the nice thing about a lot of the Vedic prayers. So the meaning is that is perfect, this is perfect, perfect arises from perfect. Having taken the perfect of perfects, perfect alone remains. So basically, even if you take a piece of perfection away from perfection, the perfection alone remains. Peace, peace, peace. And yeah, it's a nice way to say that basically we all have that spark of that oneness, and there is that perfection inside of us. Even though I know that as human beings, we have in our human form we have various flaws, but basically essentially we are part of that oneness that is whole and that is perfect. Each of us is whole in that way. So but anyway, yeah, that's why I like that beautiful one. So I'll let you carry on. Yeah, please start.
Thank you so much. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yep, please go ahead. I'll put myself on mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Namaste, everyone. Thank you, Uttara, as well. So today we will be, first of all, I would like to thank all my gurus who have helped me to understand Vedas and Vedic astrology as well. So just a heartfelt thanks to all of them. We will start with a recap of what we did in the previous slides. We had already discussed about the three-body doctrine, where we know that we have three bodies, like physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. And they are in 5 different layers or 5 koshas within our system. And then Vedas also discuss about the karma and rebirth and fractal or the Fibonacci concept, where we have 3 types of karma. One is the Sanchit karma, which is the karma of infinite lifetimes, the Prarat karma, which is a subset of Sanchit karma, on which we have chosen our present birth to complete that subset or the Prarat karma. And whatever new karma that we will be performing in the current birth, that will be the Agami karma and the Kriyaman karma. and that would be our free will. We had also discussed a concept called as above, so below, where we know that whatever is happening within our body is directly connected to whatever is happening up above the sky as well. So any changes in the constellation and in the planets directly affect our body, our circumstances, and everything. So everything that is up there is as below. And it also ties up with the concept called as Fibonacci, or the fractal sequence. We had discussed about how we have three nadis within our body. And this is in the subtle body. It's not physically visible, as it's not in the physical body, it's more in the subtle bodies. And these nadis are connected with something called as chakras. And we also discussed about how the seven important chakras and how various emotions block them. For example, the first chakra is blocked by fear, the second chakra by guilt, the third chakra by shame, the fourth chakra is blocked by grief. The fifth chakra is blocked by the lies. And the sixth chakra is blocked by the illusions. And the seventh chakra is blocked by the earthly attachments that we have. And all these happen in a subtle layer. And these subtle layers are directly connected to the grahas and the nakshatras in the subtle layer. So any changes in the grahas and the nakshatras directly affect our subtle body and our circumstances as well. And there is a concept called as white magic and black magic. Very high level, the concept is white magic is nothing but when we unblock all our chakras. And black magic is nothing but when somebody else or you yourself accidentally block any of these chakra. So the chakra blocked is black magic, and white magic is when it's opened. And when we open these chakras, we experience something called as Paramananda, or enlightenment as well. So these are the concepts. We had also discussed about the Fibonacci sequence. We saw how a basic fractal diagram is formed. We had learned about the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, where in Vedas, there are various instances where we find fractal or Fibonacci sequence references. Mahamrityunjaya mantra is one of them, which has links to a cucumber in that mantra. And we have seen that cucumber has got seeds inside it in a spiraling order, which is in a fractal or a Fibonacci sequence. And once the cucumber, it detaches itself from its stem, what it does is it sprouts all its seeds in a spiraling order, which is like a mathematical sequence, is Fibonacci. So that's the link in one of the links with the Fibonacci sequence in the Vedas. This is in Rig Veda at the moment. And we had also discussed about how Vedic astrology is considered as the eye of the Vedas, because it opens a new perception and curiosity to understand the Vedas itself. And one of my guru, Sri K.N. Raoji, he mentioned that Jyotish is nothing but it's a bridge between the para and the apara vidya, which is the paranormal as well as the the normal science as well. And we had also discussed how our birth chart is nothing but a screenshot when we were born. Like whenever a baby is born, if somebody takes a screenshot of the sky, that forms their birth chart, and that is their particular fractal. So no two human beings are same, because the planets keep on moving. So whenever you take pictures, each time the picture is different. So everyone is different, everyone is unique, and everybody's fractal is different. I have taken screenshots of a few fractal yantras so this is of Kalima. This is Sri Yantra. This is also very important because this is the same fractal that is used in Mount Meru when the ocean churning that we discussed in the previous one. So this is Sri Yantra, the Mount Meru's fractal. This is Mahamrityunjaya, has got its own fractal as well. This is a temple in Cambodia, Angkor Wat, that is formed as Mount Meru. structure. So that is also a fractal. So we had discussed all of this in the previous slides. So if you see, I have taken a few other screenshots as an example of Navgraha. So all the planets have got their own fractal diagrams associated with it. So for example, Moon looks like this, and Mars fractal diagram would be like this. So this is nothing but their birth chart. So in a way, and each of them are associated with a crystal. For example, Moon is associated with the white pearl. So if somebody breaks down white pearl, they would find this fractal in it. For example, Jupiter is associated with yellow sapphire, for example. So if somebody sees what's inside that yellow sapphire, they'll find fractals based on the sequence. So everything like as above will be so below. And we had also discussed about all the constellations in the sky. These are like 88 constellations, out of which the ecliptic, where our solar system passes, it's called the ecliptic. They pass only on these 12 zodiac signs. And each zodiac sign is again divided into, I think, it's like 13.5 degrees approximately. It's divided into one nakshatra. So we have in total, there are 27 nakshatras. Previously, there used to be 28 nakshatras calculated, but after the Mahabharata war, it is said that we only calculate the 27 nakshatra. And the 28th one being the Abhijit nakshatra, which has been hidden because in Abhijit, so there is a story associated with that, which we will learn later. Any questions so far, Uttara?
Oh, I'm just mind blown again. It's just I'm mind blown, so, wow, it's just a fractal for each planet. It's just wow. And that it and thank you so much for talking about gemstones. You see, I did not know this, that within each crystal that there's this fractal, and I guess that explains a lot, because people would say, well, what's the why how would a gemstone, how is that connected to the planets? And so then this explains. So a question I have then is that, since you say if you look inside a gemstone, this fractal will be there, by that do you actually mean that if someone were to take a microscope, say, or if they were to look at it closely, this is the pattern that would be shown?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Are there actually
well, I don't know if they have actually seen it or not, but this is again, we have to make sure like this is in subtle layer. So all of this is because we have three bodies. We have physical body, we have subtle body, and causal body. So this is all is happening in a subtle layer. So you have to have a very, very detailed microscope. I don't know if it has been invented or not. But if, so this is like a vidya in between para and apara. So apara is like the science that we currently have, and para is paranormal. It's something to in a subtle layer, in a causal layer. So if at all in the future, we will find, like, I'm pretty sure our ancient had those technologies where they could find all of this, but otherwise, how exactly would they know that this is their fractal, this is their fractal? The best bet we have now is like, we know our own birth chart, say, from different apps, but then that is our fractal. And we have got instances where we have fractal of Sri Yantra, the Mount Meru. We have fractal of different gods and demigods as well. So what we can do is we can meditate on different fractals to associate with their frequency or their energy, and they would take us from a subtle layer to a causal layer. So that's the whole motive of Vedas as well. At least our deeper happy, like everyone, Vedas say that everyone is looking for happiness, and that happiness is only available in the causal layer. Because in causal layer, what happens is the happiness is equivalent to Brahman. And causal layer is only activated in our deep sleep, where there is no dreams as well. And when we wake up or when we are dreaming, we forget that happiness. So to experience that happiness when we are awake, like in a physical layer or subtle layer, we require a demigod or someone else to take us to that higher level. So that is why people meditate to awaken their kundalini, so that they can go from their physical level to the subtle layer. From there, they will associate with the demigod. Say, for example, a lot of people do Kali Ma Puja. She will take you to a causal layer where you can, associate with a higher energy, like Brahmins, happiness.
Those who wouldn't really identify with this, this concept of demigod, say, like depending on what your belief is. So then, I know that there are some who probably would. I know that there are various schools of thought. That there's what's there? There's Advaita, that which is the non-dualistic kind of thing. And so
Yes.
I guess maybe perhaps maybe the purpose of some people using demigods to reach is because maybe I know that in astrology, I know I have limited knowledge, but from what I understand is that I know that you, even from looking at a person's chart, you can tell who their Ishdev is, who the person, rather a deity who they could use to try to focus, because some maybe for those who are very who may not need a demigod, they can focus directly on the causal layer, or or the universal whole, or Brahman, the divine source, or whatever you want to call it. Perhaps for those who may need an image or need something to help them concentrate, I guess this is a
Yes.
it kind of works in the same way as the law of as the popular law of attraction now, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is all connected. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And it also works because each one of us is unique. So in our chart, we can obviously see who would be the best demigod for us, who can take us from a subtle layer to the causal layer. It is said that we live in Kali Yuga at the moment, and the Asura, or the negative force in this particular yuga, is Asura Kali. Yeah. And previously, before becoming an Asura, he used to be a Gandharva, which is like a celestial being who enjoys dancing, music, all sort of arts and everything. So he used to be a Gandharva. So even he, as a Asura, even he wants to go from subtle layer to the causal layer to experience, Brahmanand, like bliss, ultimate bliss. Be it Asura, demigods, everybody wants to experience that level
Oh,
of.
you and Asuras as well. So then,
Yes.
so that's interesting. Even Kali wants to do that. So then, how? So a question I have is that why then, you know, is this age there? What would be your take on this?
So what exactly he does is that is why he wants to understand. Like that is my analogy. That is why he wants to understand Vedas for himself. He doesn't want people to understand Vedas, but he himself wants to understand Vedas so that he can use that to connect himself to, say, any demigod in the subtle layer, and they would take him to the causal layer. Remember that he can only go till the subtle layer. He cannot go beyond that layer. We have three layers, right? Physical, subtle, and causal. So he, as a Gandharva, can go until here, but he has got a desire to go to causal layer. So if you see from the 1600s, there was a I don't know how much history you have, but I follow one of my guru, Vinay Lal. He introduced us to a concept which started in the year 1600. It is called the Age of Enlightenment. So what it mentioned was like a lot of intellectuals were sent from the western to eastern part to collect all the information. And then once all the information is collected, they want to stop the information everywhere. And only a handful of people could understand, the, and it is also connected with museums as well. One of the things that he found in one of the museums was like after, say, the final solution, in one of the examples that he provided, they would be sure that they know everything about whomever was erased from history. So that was their obsession with museums as well. So this is all, to understand this, you have to know a little bit of history as well, and the concept of age of enlightenment. But if we forget, keep that aside, and if we only think about from a Kali Yuga perspective and what the Asura Kali wants, he wants to understand Vedas as well. He wants to know the knowledge of going from subtle layer to causal layer. So that is why even he is obsessed about gaining all the knowledge. But he doesn't want others to know the knowledge, because one of the thing about Kali Asura is like he bewitches the human soul, and then he makes them forget and makes them fight among each other. So so even everyone wants to understand or get happiness. So Vedas say the last one, the third important point is everyone is searching for that happiness. So even say Asuras or Devas, the Samudra Manthan, even the Asuras wanted Soma.
Oh, that's what it represents.
Yes.
And then yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't think,
Yeah.
but then but a question I want to ask is that why would they not want others to understand, and they want only themselves? Is it because they want control or something, or
Well, that's Asura. So the one of the gunas of Asura is like they might do negative just for, because that is their nature. Like my nature is to have food. That is my nature. Your nature would be like to sing. Like that is your nature. So for us, it is a good thing because that is not affecting anyone. But asuras can have a different kind of nature. They feel, like there are certain people you might find in your particular life, out of no reason, they will cause harm to you. Like they don't have any but they gain happiness by doing that. And there would be other kind of set of people who would do good for you. They feel good when you are happy. So there are different kinds of people, different kind of entities as well. So that is their dharma. So dharma is different for different people. So as a Gandharva, he is different. Like Gandharva who has fallen, uh, Kali Asura is different. Yeah.
Kind of, I know I won't take too long, but although I'm enjoying this, but yeah, I guess to try and put it in a nutshell, it must be like because as the Gita also simplifies it, the three gunas, there's sattva, rajas, and tamas. So
Yeah.
and also you have like your vidya, you have your atman, and then you have your ahankar. So I guess
Yes.
everyone has a different kind of composition, of in terms of how much percentage each of these things may make up your overall personality. I guess everyone has, even Kali is of Brahman. Even so I know this may sound a bit mind-blowing for people who don't have a non-dualistic perspective, but even what you call evil or what you call dark or negative, that also comes from Brahman as well.
Yeah,
So I guess
everything
that
comes
everything
from Brahman, right? So
everything has a purpose, and so yeah, it's I think that's why they call it
yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm not getting the word right, krida, the play, this play of life, or
Yeah.
of creation, of
Yeah.
existence. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
really very interesting. But I'll just ask one more question, and then I'll let you move on. So can you tell the story of why did Kali become? So you say it was a Gandharva. How did he become fallen then? What made him what he is?
Well, you have to read Kalki Puran for it. We won't go much deeper in there, but each Purana, each avatar that happens, they say that it happens because they have to overcome like some negative entity. In Kali Yuga, Kali Asura is there. In some other yuga, you might have known like there were two doorkeepers who had to fall back. So it is like they can have one as a negative entity and then directly go back to, the moksha concept, like they can go back directly, or they can have infinite birth time and then they will understand Paramananda and then they go back. So sometimes even Vishnu tests them and they ask them like, what do you want to become? So there are different, for everyone it's different. For Kali Asura, there might be definitely a particular story. So all I know particularly is like he was a Gandharva. So if you see all these music industry, film industry, and all, I'm not generalizing, but you might see like initially what used to happen is like classical Indian dance, classical Indian music, everything was understood to understand these Vedic concepts, so that we can go from physical layer to subtle layer, and from subtle layer we can go to causal layer. But because the Vedas have been forgotten, like we have forgotten, so there is like even in these industries, like negative forces that can come in, like the chemical drugs that a lot of actors and actresses like take. There have been the entire Sushant Singh Rajput, like that some say he has died because of suicide, some say because of he has been killed. So there is negative forces, a negative entity behind. So it's because he was a Gandharva. So wherever there is music, art, he comes like because he remembers something from the past. But then in this birth, he is a negative force. Then he remembers, okay, I'm a Asura, and then he creates something. So that is so
it's so
when
it's so interesting that you draw a parallel between Gandhar and the entertainment industry, because that was what I was thinking as well. And again, I know I'm not generalizing. I know that every
yeah
artist is different.
yeah
It's not that it's all bad. But then yeah, that but then yeah.
yeah
But yes, having said that as well, yeah, the you bring up Sushant Singh Rajput. Yeah, I am. No, I won't get into that too much, But then, yes, I know I
yes
do have my reasons to believe that he was killed, as many
yeah
do other people. But yes, yeah, there was definitely, yeah, there was, yeah, without getting into too much detail. Yeah, I know that there were, yeah, there's an investigation going on, as to, the, various, into his case, and just certain links with drugs cartels. No, I don't believe he was connected with those. I believe that he wasn't into those things, not knowingly, So, but yep, but yep. Anyway, getting back to the focus, that yeah, but
yeah
yeah,
yeah
it's very interesting that you talk about the
yeah
entertainment industry, because yeah, that thing is there, yeah, and maybe yeah, and I know it would be interesting to look at history as a whole, and to
yes.
see, yeah. I know but I don't know whether we'll get into it in this session, but if not this
No,
session, then
definitely in a
another one.
different session.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it'd be very interesting to see
yeah,
the links
just
between
to
history and yeah.
tell you like two more things. Like one is one of my gurus, Eve Mendoza, over here. She mentioned a very beautiful concept. Like obviously, everyone's dharma is different, and during Samudra Manthan, you would see all the devtas because Vishnu came as Mohini avatar, a beautiful lady. All the devtas were lustful, but then Rahu and Ketu, who was one Asura, he wasn't lustful. His aim was like just Soma. You see, like their aim was like he was like correct. Like his entire focus was on Soma. He wasn't lustful. He didn't have any other desire. His only aim was like straight. Like he wanted Soma, and he got it. But then, because he was an Asura, Vishnu had to, cut his head. But then it became an eternal cycle for this particular yuga, where we have this eternal cycle of Rahu and Ketu. Rahu becomes like an obsession, and Ketu becomes like a detachment from our past life. And the second concept that I wanted to make sure, like this white magic and black magic that we discussed. White is nothing but when we are unblocking all the chakras and we are enlightened and we can understand, we can see the truth, we can have perception. Black magic is nothing but somebody who has created a lot of, blocked all your chakra. For example, a lot of fear can block your chakra as well. A lot of guilt can block your chakra. So all these, and if we go back to history, we will find various instances where fear was instilled. For example, say in 1500s, where a lot of women were killed by saying that they were witches, like they were falsely accused and then they were killed. So there was a lot of fear in the society. And what that fear will do is, because we are humans, we are like simple beings, like we have our own limitations. There were instances that were recorded in the history that a lot of women started to meow like cats
Oh my.
because of the fear. And there were a lot of people who started to dance and they couldn't stop, and many of them died because of that, dancing and jumping. So there was the dancing maniac. There was like a lot of nuns who were forcibly, previously in their generation, they saw a lot of killings and all that because of all that fear. There were instances in human history as well, it impacts psychologically to human beings because their chakras get blocked. So all these, things, you have to let go of them. So, and that will open up your chakra. So black magic is nothing but if somebody instills a lot of fear in you, a lot of guilt in you, like saying you're not good, you're not this, and a lot of shame, like whatever you're doing is not right. So they are shaming you. Humiliating someone is like the biggest emotion that was recorded. Even I think that was in news as well. So all these emotions are nothing but they are part of the black magic where they're blocking your chakras. So all these things are kind of related as well. Do you have any
So
questions?
then, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No one look at you. Yeah. So then people can. So does that mean that people can even unknowingly do black magic then? Without they even realizing that they can do this
Yes.
sort of thing?
Yeah. So
Oh.
Vedas, like my Guruji said that in Vedas, like somebody can, so karma is something that your mind does, yeah. So whatever your mind is thinking, that becomes your karma, and somebody can influence you with a black magic, say by installing a lot of fear and so on. Somebody can influence you and create a lot of fear, a lot of guilt, a lot of grief, a lot of lies, a lot of illusion, a lot of attachments and all that. So, but then because of that influence, whatever you are doing, then that becomes your karma. That is not his karma, whoever is influencing you. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I
for
see what you mean.
example, sugar, yeah? We know that sugar is bad for us, but then somebody is selling sugar to us, but we know, and sometimes we don't even know, like if a baby is like 4 or 5 years and he loves chocolates and he doesn't know, but he got influenced by somebody else. So why, when he's eating that chocolate and increasing his diabetes later on in his life, that becomes his karma. That has nothing to do with the influencer anymore. So that is why your mindfulness, you remember this concept of your agami karma, your free will, that takes over. So because of your product, you might have come across people who are selling you sugar, you see, but then the choice is yours in this birth. If you're mindful, if you're doing kriya yoga, you're mindful and everything, you will not eat that, or you will eat that sustainably, like you'll eat it like in the correct amount, say probably. So that becomes your karma again. So that's the concept. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, now you can hear me. No, okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting insight that you've given, and I guess it's like when you say that people can even unknowingly do black magic. I mean, it's just because they say everything is energy, and so then your thoughts, your words, your actions, your emotions, and everything, and so I can't. I think there's a term. I can't remember exactly how you. Well, maybe this is not a very good translation, but I think they say someone has a black tongue or something like that, meaning that anything bad they say, that they wish upon someone, that comes true. And it is kind of scary that some people can kind of have that impact, on a person. And so,
No,
well,
I
not that
mean,
I would ever
that
want
is a
to
bit
do.
extreme, but yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
have to have that sort of chart. And
yeah, that's pretty scary. But yeah, well, not that everyone who does it would do it deliberately. But I
yeah,
guess it's kind of, I guess again, because that's why you have to be mindful. Although I mean, we all make mistakes. We're all human. And we're all
yeah,
going to,
yeah, yeah,
blunder here and there. No one has a perfect track record. And it's just,
yeah,
I mean, that's why we're here. It's just
exactly.
yeah, I know my Sanskrit teacher David Stoy would say the same thing. Oh yeah, that's why we're all here, and we're trying to then,
Yeah.
yeah, but But yeah, although you would have to, it is true that you would have to go through your karma, but at the same time, it's good also to kind of, not instill shame or fear in a person, because even karma is like Lady Justice, it's a
Yes.
kind of both similar
Yeah.
concepts, and
Yeah.
Lady Justice has
Yeah.
a blindfold, holding the scales and the sword in her
Yes.
hand.
Yeah.
I mean, she may have a sword in her hand, but she also has the scales. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but then, karma isn't something that's sort of necessarily perpetual, like,
Yes. Yeah.
what whatever thing you have to pay back, you pay back and that's done.
Yes.
You don't,
Yeah.
it's, you don't have to be, you don't have to be in a state of eternal shame or guilt for whatever
Yes. Yeah.
the past is, and you let it go. That's why
Yeah.
you have to let go of
Yeah.
guilt and fear. And also it's also good to, nowadays, try not to get into that kind of trap of instilling fear or guilt in other people and shame, because after, if you'd want to forgive yourself, you'd want to, you'll forgive yourself and you'd also want others to forgive you, then you don't want to be judged, or
Yeah.
then it's good to try to do the same for others. Now I know we can all fall into
Yeah.
these kind of traps, but then, as long as there's both positive and negative within you. So I guess that
Yeah.
as long as you
Yeah.
try to be mindful, you kind of, that's the whole point of mindfulness, I guess, or
Exactly. Yeah.
meditation, that you
Yeah.
before you kind of act or speak, or
Yeah.
you try to be mindful of your thoughts and emotions. Not, I suppose, not that you have to feel guilty or ashamed of it. I mean, I guess you let it, they're gonna come and go, but I
Yeah.
guess the meditation of mindfulness is about centering yourself in that kind of
Yeah.
awareness, or trying to remember that you are Brahman, or the divine, or energy, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe or you don't
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I guess that's the main, that's
Yeah.
the main gist of what
Yeah.
meditation and mindfulness
Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
And
So that is
yeah.
what even Vedas say, that this balance sheet of all these karma, like Sanchit karma, Prarat karma, and Kriyaman karma, and Agami karma, it's always balanced out. So it is never that, people say, why does this happen to me? It might be happening from a very previous life or previous birth time. Brahman does anyone. Like, Brahman is always happy. He wants us to be happy. It's because of Maya, we forgot, we have done few karmas. And because of our own karma, we get into those scenarios. And if we are not mindful, it just goes on and on like a fractal. And we repeat the same mistakes birth after birth. So if we are mindful, we'll choose the correct karma for us, and then it will take us a step closer to Brahman, or step closer to God. So, and the other one is, for example, the fifth chakra, which is blocked by lies, and sixth chakra by illusions. When you say, like, how can you accidentally be have created black magic in yourself? For example, in media, if you are watching a news channel which doesn't say the right things, so these are the lies and the illusions you are subconsciously feeding yourself. Okay, this is the correct news. This is, but then after a few years, you'll find, okay, whatever I was feeding myself was lies or illusion via the media, or like a medium, and then you get over. So even that is a black magic. So everything that, yeah, these things, they are part of black magic. And white magic is nothing but you accept, the truth, and then you get enlightened, like you open up your chakra. So that is the only difference. That is what Vedas say as well. I can't hear you, Uttara.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
How about, okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's again, that's really intriguing. And yes, because you see, after all, media, when you think about it, when you try to look at the meaning of the words, like, even the actual meanings, like, it really tells you a lot. Like, because media is a plural of medium. Medium is like, well, how do you describe it? It's like, it's kind of a means of communicating something,
Yeah.
that you, and so
Yeah.
then we have television, we have newspapers, we
Yeah.
have and
It's the medium
like,
is the message.
So social media, yeah, the medium is the message, yeah. And
It was I think I forgot his name, but he was a very big scientist and researcher who mentioned this, like the medium is the message. I think it was in 1940s or something he published this. And say, for example, now the medium is social media. In the future, it will be artificial intelligence. The medium is always the message. You know, before the cameras came, the pictures were the message. So, and before language, the spellings, it comes from a word spells. So everything, the medium is always the message. So, yeah.
I know this may sound like I understandably this is going to sound woo woo for people who don't believe in the word magic, you know, and that's
Yeah.
fine, you know, like I understand, you know, like not imposing this on people, you know, but even if you think about it, even if you don't want to think about it in terms of magic, you know, even about psychologically, it's just because after all, it's influencing the mind, you know, it's just
Yes.
through, you know, the media, whatever information they give, you know, it, you know, they you know, obviously, you know, some people may be selective about what they project, you know, and then what they portray. And then with television, tele, you know, it's like teleportation, is like communicating something or transporting something, and vision, you know, it's like, you know, television, it's like, you know, just you're kind of
Yeah.
teleporting a vision, you know, kind of,
Yeah.
you know, projecting it, you know, onto you. So, and even films, or, you know, feature films and all that, even, you know, bits of, you know, entertainment and all stories, that they're kind of an illusion as well. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they're, because, you know, films are meant to make you feel certain things. It's all acting, you know, it's all an
Yes.
act, but then
Yeah.
but it's an illusion. And I guess the same thing is with media,
Yes.
you could argue. And yeah, as you very rightly said, you know, even spelling, you know, spell, you know, it's like, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, yeah, that is true. And after all, everything, and even
Yeah.
if you look, you know, even if you look at what physicists have seen, like quantum physics, you know, it is sort of tied in, connected. It's all very similar to what you're talking about here, because
Yeah.
you know, when you and again, I know I am not an expert physicist, but from what I understand, from my limited understanding, basically quantum physics, you know, at least, you know, at least from Einstein's time, you know, they say that everything is energy. Even
Yes.
if, yeah, and so
So,
yeah,
so what we will see in Vedas is like everything connects back to your mind, and because mind is whatever it's thinking, it's becoming the karma. And Vedas have got everything in Vedas connects to an energy. That energy has got a fractal diagram, and that keeps on repeating. So the entire Vedas is nothing but the study of energies, different forms of energy, and which we have personified as well. And each energy has got their own frequency, their own vibration, their own, you know, repetitive patterns, and they form everything. So once we understand, like we have three bodies and five different layers, we have these three types of karma, which is like, and our cycle is infinite, and we have everything above is everything below, like everything inside us and with us of our life circumstances is directly getting affected with whatever is happening up in the sky as well. And everywhere we will see these concepts. So that is the most fascinating study of in Vedas that I found. I'll show you where, so we have completed this slide as well, where we have seen the Mahamrityunjay mantra and the fractal or the Fibonacci sequence in there. We have seen the Navgrahas. Each of the grahas have got their own, you know, fractal diagrams. We will see now some examples where we can see fractals. Now, whenever, now you just go out in your home, everywhere you will notice, like because your perception has slightly increased, you'll see fractals everywhere. So this is one of the gemstones or the crystal, when you cut it, you will see like fractals. Fractal is nothing but a pattern that repeats forever. Like every part of the fractal, regardless of how much you zoom in or zoom out, it will look the same. So if you see this particular square or whatever this square pattern is, it is similar to the entire thing. If you see in human heart, all these arteries, if you just zoom in and you zoom out, they will be completely the same. And if you see the lungs of human heart, human body, sorry, they will be the same. This is like one of the crystals. I took a diagram of the crystal. Even the branches of the tree, if you see, they form crystal, fractals or Fibonacci as well. So these are some of the examples. Other example that I took, is of lightning. So we can see like the lightning pattern, the bijli that we call, they are fractal. The electricity, if you zoom in electricity, you will see fractals in electricity as well. If you see mountains from the top, you will see a fractal pattern in the mountains. Even the rivers, the sea, the delta area, that there is a fractal in there. This is, I think, zoomed out from the space, and you will see like all the rivers meeting the sea. They form fractals in there. This is again another river within the mountain area. They form a fractal. This is one of the crystals. They form a fractal. And even in the computer system, if you zoom in, you will see fractals in there as well. And this is a snowflake. So each and every snowflake, as we were discussing in the previous slide, they have a different pattern, and all of them are based on fractals. We can see fractals in architecture as well. If you see all the temples that were built in ancient India, they were formed based on this fractal pattern. If you see various architecture, like ancient architectures all across the globe, you will see a pattern or a fractal diagram in there. Even I have seen this one. There is a particular form of fractal in, the Eiffel Tower of Paris. This is a temple mandala or the temple architecture. It's formed, it has got fractal in it. And this is like a sunflower. You will see a perfect fractal, and also the golden ratio. Golden ratio is nothing but, the quotient, or when you divide two successive Fibonacci numbers, you will get a number which is approximately 1.618, and if you inverse it, it's 0.618. So this becomes a golden ratio because it's a ratio between the higher fractal divided by the low fractal number. And that golden ratio you'll find in almost everywhere, in human body, in architecture. This is again the architecture of Mount Meru in Cambodia. There is a temple called Angkor Wat where you will find Mount Meru. This is the same mountain architecture, that mountain that was used in Samudra Manthan, or the churning of the oceans as well, to pull us humans from a different dimension to this particular dimension in this yuga. Do you have any questions, Satra?
You're saying that this location that you've just mentioned, this is meant to be the actual location, the same location where Samudra Manthan occurred?
Oh, no. This is not the actual location, but you see these mountains, these temple structures, they are formed as Mount Meru.
I see, in the shape.
So the
For a
Mount
minute,
No. So the Mount Meru, I think in India, there is a place where the Samudra Manthan location is there, but it is not highly known by public. But only few know where it has happened. So you can go there. Yeah, you can find. I think there is under the river, you can find like where the Kurma avatar or Vishnuji was like a tortoise, and where he came and where he was holding the entire mountain. So there are places in India as well. India is full of mysteries. If you go there, you'll find a lot of.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The people talk. There was that of the archaeological discovery of the ruins of Dwarka, which was submerged underwater. Which is exactly according to the story of the Mahabharata, where as one of the effects of Gandhari's curse, that the Dwarka got submerged underwater. It's just so fascinating, Oh God, I know we're talking about curse, and that's to do with black magic. It's like
yeah,
kind of
like
wishing
one of the temple in Iran, I think. It is one of the architecture, and now you go anywhere, you will see fractals everywhere. Like you have to just focus, and you'll see a fractal. And you see this ancient, this is not very, very ancient, but this is the painting of Mona Lisa, like relatively closer to our current history. And you will see the golden ratio. So all these paintings had quotes in them. So we should understand, like at that particular time, there was a change from the ancient Vedic or the pagan and various other culture to, they were like very strict about following such. But then they had these codes because they still wanted to pass on information. They had these quotes in like literally everywhere, like in all their paintings and everywhere. So,
I never knew this. So, can you explain a little bit about how is it that there was this code? So it was intentional then by Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, of course, we know that he was multi-talented. He was like a polymath, or what you call a genius for his multiple talents. So,
well,
so
for all of that, you need to understand this concept, the age of enlightenment, and what happened before that.
yeah,
So
that's a reason
yeah,
for
so
these names.
for this, the you need to understand a little bit of history, like where human history is coming. Like my Guruji, like Kripalji Maharaj, he used to say that entire universe was Vedic, but then systematically everyone forgot. And there is a reason, because everything is cyclic, and even knowledge, once it has imparted all the knowledge, even that has to die and get a rebirth again. So this is the line. Kali Yuga is where, because the in the story of Kali, the Kalki Avatar or the Kalki Purana, the story is the Kali Asura will make sure that everyone forgets, because he wants the knowledge for himself. He doesn't want to pass on that information to anyone else. And he wants to go from subtle layer to the causal layer. He wants to experience all the, Brahman and happiness for himself. That is his, but then at the end of Kali Yuga, there will be an avatar of Vishnu, which is the Kalki avatar. And then he will ensure that everybody understands it and everybody knows equally. Everyone is enlightened, everyone knows the truth, and everyone has this Vedic knowledge as well. So if you see in history, like for example, there were like these people, the gypsies. I don't know whether you know them. They are part of India, but then they were taken away from India to different parts of the world. And they were not allowed, because here there were a lot of changes in Europe at that particular time. Like nobody was allowed to practice anything apart from their particular way of thinking and all that. But then they wanted to do Kali Puja, where they wanted to. So what they did was they had something called as Kali Sara, where they used to take, like Mother Mary, but then they called her Kali Sara, and then they used to practice. So if you study human history, you will understand that even if people are, with this fear, if somebody says that you can't do that, humanity still strives. They have certain ways to make sure like it still goes and on and on. The information is still passed. And these spiritual knowledge, you have to understand, as per Vedas, is like once a body dies, a physical body dies, or the subtle body and causal body are going to the next birth. So, and only the spiritual knowledge can go to the next birth. Everything else physical we leave, like all our money, the house, the family members, we can leave. But then whatever we have gathered spiritually, that goes to the next birth. Subconsciously we know everything. It's just the spark that we need to to raise our curiosity to understand more. So that's the concept.
Interesting. So so if you say that even only spiritual knowledge goes, then how would you explain certain talents that people have naturally? That it's let's say, could be any talent, like
I can't hear you, Uttara, sorry.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, I can, yeah.
Yeah. What I was asking was that yeah, so I know you're saying only spiritual knowledge goes travels, but then how would you explain certain inborn talents people have? Say, could be any talent, like musical talent, I don't know, writing, dancing, or whatever that people seem to show from their childhood. Would that be part of spirituality, or is it
Yes,
or
yeah, definitely. So all of them form part of your spiritual knowledge. For example, this chart that we found of King Charles, we saw that he has got, say, Jupiter in his sixth house in Sagittarius, which becomes like exalted Jupiter. And this is like the house of enemy and the daily routines and everything. So he has that will power to, overcome his enemies. And this is definitely, he must have done something in his past birth where he got this product to be born in a royal family. He knows what to do. So everything, so this balance sheet that we are looking of karma, this is always correct. Like nobody can challenge that. So whatever your circumstances you're facing, whatever my circumstances I'm facing, it's all because of our product karma, and our, say, product is like subset of sanchit karma. So because of our past life birth, we are getting various talents. So for example, you are good into singing, and if you see in your chart, you can see that why you have gained something from your past birth. And you will see like a lot of one of my gurus here. He's like a child, and he predicted COVID like in 2018. And you won't believe like the amount of knowledge that he has. It's very, very difficult in such a young child understanding Vedas, understanding all the mantras, remembering so much. It has definitely come from a very previous past birth, and only spiritual knowledge can go to the next birth.
yeah, I mean, you have, sorry, I don't know if you can hear me, but
I
yeah.
can't hear you, Uttara.
Oh, uh, oh, sorry about that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I had a bit of a moment. I think I clicked on some tool for drawing, and I thought I don't want to draw anything on this. Sorry. Yeah, what I was, yeah, I guess, yeah. When you see things like child prodigies, sorry, that's what I meant, child prodigies. So how they can, how some children, how from a young age they can be so immensely talented in something, let's say music, or being able to play the piano, or knowledge, like, as you say, in this sense. And I know we talked about it on the very first level. I very briefly touched on it. If people who are doubtful about reincarnation, there's who want to try and look into this a bit more, there's a man called Dr. Jim B. Tucker, and there's a Discovery Channel documentary from the 2000s. It's about reincarnation. If you just search for reincarnation documentary, Discovery Channel, it should come up. I think it's called Past Life. Past life stories of reincarnation. I hope that's right. But yeah, Dr. Jim B. Tucker, being a psychiatrist who was educated in the mainstream system of science. So he had a more skeptical approach. But when he looked at certain case studies of people people remembering details of their past lives, and when they gave specific details about the location or families or names, something, when investigations were done, apparently those investigations found that their stories were corroborated, that they turned out to be true. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's something.
Yeah, it is
So yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
because I think Sri K. Rao, he has given a lot of lectures in the US, as well as written a lot of books on because he has done a lot of analysis of people who have claimed to remember their past. Then he went to the previous past birth where their birth chart is, and then he has matched whether he can see like how the life is passing from the previous birth chart to the new birth chart. So he has written a very beautiful book on that as well. So it's a very, very interesting and very intriguing study. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, please.
I can't hear you.
But there's just one more small question I have about
Yes.
the Fibonacci pattern that you said Leonardo da Vinci
Mhm.
coded that in the Mona Lisa painting. So I know you touched on the Age of Enlightenment, and I know we can't go into too much detail there, but you think that perhaps he knew that he gained some knowledge of this through perhaps because I know you said that scholars went to the East and they they learned about, perhaps they learned about Vedic knowledge, and so
Yeah,
he might
one
that.
thing we need to understand is like because everything is cyclic. In our recent history, India has been like an educational hub. We had like Takshila, various universities where people from Rome, because earlier it was a ancient Roman Empire, and before that it was like Mesopotamia, Egypt. So all of them used to, and there were exchange of information as well. It's not that all the information was only in India. Obviously, there was information in other parts of the world as well. But there have been, if you see, like a lot of people used to come from the west to east to understand these knowledge. There have been documentaries that say, I don't know, like a lot of people also say that Jesus, there was someone named Jesus who came from western side to eastern side to understand Vedas, and then he took back this knowledge back. So there were like a lot of exchange of information. So people already knew about Vedas, even and if Maharajis, if we go by via these concepts, people understood Vedas, and this is also like past birth knowledge as well. For example, wherever my mind is at the time of the death, that is where my next birth will be. So that doesn't mean like I'll always have an Indian body. I could also have a Western body. So we can't like fight, it is my information, it is your information. No, I could have gained a lot of Vedic knowledge in an Indian body, but in the next birth, if my mind at the end of my birth is thinking about somebody else who is based in the UK, and I get a next body here in the UK, that doesn't mean that it's like I forget that, because it's a spiritual knowledge. I've gained it. So you have to see from very very spiritual level and very very high level. So the current I understand why people have a little bit of anguish and they fight, but then once you understand Vedas from a very very spiritual level, that fight will go away. We fight only the things that we remember of the past. If we remember for like last 2 days who has done bad to us, our fight is with them. If we remember for 100 years, our fight is with them. If we remember of 200 years, like why colonizers came, our fight is with them. If we remember 1,000 years, our fight is like with them. But Vedas, it says it's infinite. It's like, whom do you fight with? You don't fight with anyone. You see into yourself and you try to understand everything from a very very spiritual level. So that is the difference.
Really, that's a lovely, beautiful answer, and
I can't hear you, Uttara.
uh,
Yeah, now I can.
sorry, yeah, yeah, that is a lovely, beautiful answer, and yeah, and I really do believe that this is true. Yes, because of course I'm not invalidating, the feelings of people who feel that there was injustice done in the past. I'm not saying that isn't true, but but it is absolutely true that if after all, when you look at the word spirituality or spiritual, you have to think in terms of that. You have to rise above these sort of things. It's, I mean, yeah, you acknowledge the past, that yeah, it happened, but you don't have to carry so much anger, or those, because again, that kind of leads to blocking, like, the chakras. And you got to understand at the end of the day that we're all of one source, and that yeah, that yeah, bad things happen. Everyone, yeah, people did, yeah, wrong things were done, mistakes were made, and of course, it's not trivializing these things, but of course, it's you look at history, you acknowledge it. It is true that yes, you have to know and understand history, like you said, in order to understand everything, the truth of everything, including the Vedas. But then it's also how you got to move forward from it. And ideally, it's good not to carry, these kind of grudges or lack of forgiveness or anger and these things. In order to become truly, in order to attain that kind of level of spirituality, you have to rise above these things. And yep, absolutely, reincarnation is not just limited to just one country,
Yeah.
India. It's to, while of course I have all the love and respect, for India, of course, but then it's knowledge. After all, knowledge belongs to everyone, really. So
Yeah.
then So then, of course, how else would you explain great thinkers from all over the world who have very profound insights? And it's good to try and think of what unites us rather than what divides us. And I know I'm kind of, and here's the thing, it's kind of a, people like you and I, I know we're kind of in a middle ground. We don't have any particular leanings, I know that we'll, I know, of course, you can get attacked from all sides, by, but then, of course, hopefully people would understand this concept. It is true. Yeah, there are geniuses and great people all over the world. And like you said, knowledge, it kind of disappears or takes rebirths in various places. After all, this whole creation is, it's not just even Earth, even, there's just so much more of the the observed and unobserved universe that we don't know of.
There is a lot that we don't know, and that's what makes us very curious. And one thing is these chakras, and because Earth is also considered as conscious in Vedas. It's Dharti Mata, right? And it has got its own, Vastu. Vastu means something, some parts of it is considered a heart, some as mind. So America was like a mind as per Vastu Shastra, and your heart was where India is. So you see, like when a human being, you cut their head, their mind is off, but then they still keep on walking. They don't die because their heart is still active. So that is what is, if you see in a very, very high level, that is what is happening. If from our minds, this knowledge and everything has evaporated, but the heart, India is like the heart. So that is why India is very important. And East is always where your heart is, and heart just, because the soma is nothing but love, and that is generated in the heart first, and that is what is given to the entire world. So these concepts are all connected. And I think we have to be thankful to India to impart such beautiful and preserving this knowledge. I know everywhere it has just erased. People have succumbed to fear, guilt, and all that. But India is, I think, one of the places. No matter what happens, there will be always Mahapurusha who will get birth and rebirth in that particular land, because that is as a Vastu Shastra, that is the heart. And this knowledge will again come up again to the world.
So interesting.
I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Yeah, and really just so interesting. I learned something new that for every time we have a discussion, and it's just so fascinating and in my view quite wonderful as well. And it's just absolutely just wow. Yeah, I really am quite mind blown. And this I'll let you carry on.
Okay. So because now whenever you see and read Vedas, like any concepts in there, you will find a lot of energies, and a lot of energies have got their own fractal diagrams, and that is what we will see here. Okay. So there is a fact called as synesthesia, which means like a condition where you can you can feel the music as colors. You can smell the colors. It's like, our perception is like we can smell something, we can see something, but in this condition, what happens is you can, these music, it appears like colors to you. So that is a difference. So that is what happens, like people have said, that when they have these magic mushroom or psychedelics, they experience that. Their perception level changes. As human beings, we have certain amount of perception, but when our ancients, like whenever this soma substances were active or were present on Earth, they could go into these conditions where the perception level was higher, and they could, gain a lot of information, from Akashic record, and they have documented Vedas, in that time. And this is one of the diagrams I found on internet. So if you see, like, I haven't had it myself, just to let you know. But if people have had magic mushroom, they see a particular fractal based on their own, birth chart. They see their fractal. So everyone sees different kind of fractals, and they have, like, a lot of people have drawn various fractals, but mostly it has these kind of shapes, and then everything around it remains different. This is one of the artists. I think this is one of the famous paintings. I forgot the artist's name, so sorry. But then he has drawn fractals in it. This is like the Christmas tree, and the magic mushrooms are like the red mushrooms that the shamans used to hang. And these were eaten by reindeers. So that's why reindeers are also seen in these shamanic cultures. And also, I think subconsciously as humans, we have remembered, Christmas time, which happens to be near the solstice, the winter solstice in December. We can see the Harappan figurine, which has got various mushrooms on her head, various psychedelics. Just to let you know, like, all these figurines are like more than 5,000 years old. So we see like a continuity of, all these soma, or fractal substances, which gave us higher perception and showed us like the fractal reality, and, made us understand something more as humans. There are other figures all across, like all ancient world, like even if you go back to like ancient Americas, or Africa, and Australia, everywhere around the world, you will see like these psychedelics were used to gain higher perception. But what my understanding so far has been, like, perhaps 6,000 years ago, there was some climate change, and these substances got, they either got reduced, or they just vanished from our ecosystem. So our sages started building a lot of meditation technique, and they found that it could automatically be generated in us humans through various meditation techniques. That is the one of them being like the Kundalini meditation as well. So, and this is one of the books I read. I would recommend you for understanding a bit more about Soma. Shall we move forward?
Yeah. How many more slides do you have left, Alka?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. How many more slides do you have left?
A few more.
Few more.
Have we run out?
Yeah, I think already an hour is gone. Yeah.
The fun part has come yet.
Oh
But
dear. Oh dear.
okay.
I
Do you want to continue, or what do you want to do?
So when you say quite a few more, how many? How much was it? Like,
I wanted to show like how the fractal concepts and nakshatra they map.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
Revati took over, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see how we go. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. It is
Just stop me
interesting.
wherever you think we can't understand, or you
Okay.
can't
Yeah.
understand. Just stop
Okay.
me, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And if it's more to take as information, we can do it in next slide. But just let me know, because I can talk for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how nakshatra and fractals. What's the link? So now everything that you will see, you will find a fractal concept in there. Say all of these nakshatra and everything we discussed, like how it came from Samudra Manthan in this particular yuga. This was like the cycle of Rahu and Ketu. These were like the 88 constellation, and only 12 constellations, the ecliptic, and all the nakshatras within each zodiac, like 3 to 4 nakshatras in each zodiac. And this is like a cyclic diagram of this in the sky, where you see 12 zodiac, and 27 or 28 nakshatras in there. What we will see is like you see this Anuradha, which falls in Scorpio, in the zodiac Scorpio. And then you would see there is another nakshatra called as Mrigashira. And it falls in Gemini. And I think the other half we'll see, I forgot where it falls. But do you remember where it falls? I think it's in Taurus, half of it, right?
Yes, yeah, with the Mrigashira, yes, it is two parts in Taurus and 2 parts in Gemini.
Gemini, perfect. Okay, so we will see like what's the link that is there between these two nakshatras. Okay, just to enter that area, we will see Aditi in the Vedas. She is said to be the mother of all the Adityas, and there are other like also say Vaman avatar of Vishnu. So she was mother of like a lot of demigods. And the most important ones I found out was Varuna and Mitra. And the Fibonacci sequence is again mentioned in the Rig Veda, where there is a mention that Daksha, who was like the generator of Aditi, Daksha sprang from Aditi and Aditi from Daksha. What that means is it's showing a cyclic pattern, a Fibonacci pattern, because Fibonacci is like it goes on and on and on. So a lot of theologists have seen this as a Fibonacci sequence, a fractal, and infinity. And Aditi is like personification of infinity or infinite cycle in the Vedas. She is also associated as Lotus. And if you see, like, even till recent times, a lot of people used to, worship her because she was the mother. She's always seen as like a pregnant lady giving birth. Yeah. And you would see the same pattern in here, which is in Saraswati civilization. You would see like a lady giving birth to a child. So that is Aditi, and she's also called as Lajja Gauri. That's another name for her. And she's nothing but the personification of Soma or personification of infinity. And all of these are linked. Yeah. I haven't put the full diagram picture of Lajja Gauri, but if you Google it, you will find the entire picture. So you will see like she's like a full-fledged lady who is giving birth to someone. Okay, the next concept is like we're going back to the previous slide where we were discussing, Mrigashira and, Anuradha. So Anuradha falls in Scorpion and Mrigashira is here. Yeah, it's half Taurus and half, what was the other one? I forgot again.
Gemini, yeah. Sorry, half Taurus, half Gemini. So
yeah,
half
perfect.
Rishabh and half
Yeah,
Mithun.
half, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the sky, when you see, so there is, if you see, like, if you go out today and the sky is clear, you will see like a pattern, a hunter is chasing a scorpion. And you must have read it in some news, or it comes again and again. This pattern of a hunter is chasing a scorpion, and we see the weather patterns in there. So just hold that thought in your head. We'll go to the next slide and I'll tell you how it maps back. Yeah. Okay, so the Mrigashira Nakshatra, you're right. Its ruling planet is Mars, its gender is female, its Gana is neutral. So there are, in Vedas, they have mentioned like what each nakshatra is. And you would see like it is said that a deer's head, it's associated, Mriga Shira means Mriga is a deer and Shira is head. Yeah, so it is made up of 2 words called as a deer's head. And who is this deer? So there is a mythological story. I see mythology, but it might have very well happened in the past. But there is a story that Brahma, it's not Brahman, Brahma is different. Brahma created a very, very beautiful woman, and then he falls in love with her. because she was like the beautiful. And this is happening at a causal level. Yeah, it's a very, very high level. We shouldn't imagine from our physical level. So it's happening at a very, very high level. So yeah, so the long story short, he falls in love with this woman, but then because it is not acceptable, or is it's a incest kind of a thing, so a lot of gods pray Shiva to stop Brahma in doing anything, and Brahma changes himself as a deer, and he is running after this beautiful woman who has changed herself as a deer as well, and they both are chasing themselves. And what Shiva does is he cuts Brahma's head. So one of the other stories is like Brahma used to have five heads, but then one of the head was chopped. So initially, Earth used to be five-dimensional. But in Kali Yuga, or in this particular Yuga, the entire cycle, we live in a four-dimensional world. Yeah. And the fifth dimension became the moon. Say it could very well be like Brahma's head. It became the moon, and moon is said to have soma in it. You see, that's the link. So Shiva is always seen with a deer in his hand. You see Shiva and Parvati, and it's a deer in his hand. So that is so Shiva was the hunter who was hunting the deer, because he has to cut the head of the deer, and who was Brahma. So this is one of the stories behind Mrigashira Nakshatra. If this is clear, shall we go to the next slide? I'll show you the other story as well.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Cool, thanks. Anuradha Nakshatra, it falls in Scorpio, all of it. It has got, so if you see it, it looks like a scorpion as well, and it falls in Scorpio. And its ruling planet is Saturn, obviously, but his deity is Mitra. Mitra is, Aditi. You remember Aditi I have mentioned before? So she was the mother of Mitra. Even Varuna, Mitra. So she was the mother of this particular god. And Mitra is a god of friendship. So it is, and he is the patron of military as well. 6,000 years ago, where these substances started becoming extinct. So a lot of military was formed first to safeguard the soma. So before that, in human civilization, there was not military. Like obviously during Ramayana time, there was like Vanar Sena and all that. And during Mahabharata time, obviously there was. Mahabharata is said to be 5,000 years old, but we have to go to perfect researchers to find out the exact timelines of all these events, but these are all like the approximate figures that I can provide you. So long story short, so Mitra is a patron of military, and he was made in the ancient world to safeguard soma, because soma substances were getting extinct, and he is like the ruling deity of Scorpion. And his mother is Aditi, the goddess, the Lajja Gauri or Aditi that we saw before. He is the patron, and also he always is portrayed with a lotus flower, and lotus is also the associated with this nakshatra called as Anuradha Nakshatra. And every nakshatra has got an energy or a power, and this Anuradha Nakshatra has got the energy of Soma, or the love. And that love is equivalent, it's not the humanly love that we all have with our say boyfriend or husband. So it's not that particular love. That love is a divine love. That is the love between, say, Radha and Krishna. So that sort of love is the energy of this particular nakshatra. Are we clear with Mrigashira and Anuradha? Can I go to the next slide?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't hear you.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so now we will see a very, very interesting concept. I just wanted to show this. This is like a Harappa seal from Harappan civilization. It is more than 4,000 or 5,000 years old. If you see, where is this? If you see this, you will see a squatting goddess here. So that you will see, like, if woman is giving birth to someone, and you would see two uh, scorpions. Can you notice that?
Yes, I do notice. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is nothing but goddess Aditi giving birth to Mitra. And this is the zodiac of Scorpion. So this is Anuradha Nakshatra. So this seal is giving us Anuradha Nakshatra. And if you turn that seal, you will see an hunter and a deer. It is killing a deer. So they are talking in this particular seal, and the seal is like this tiny seal. And on that, you see like two nakshatras. And in the sky, we know that there is a concept where we can see like a hunter is chasing someone, a scorpion. So this scorpion nakshatra is in here, and so this is Shiva killing the deer, who is Brahma. And here you can see goddess Aditi giving birth to Mitra, and this is in the Scorpio zodiac. So you remember you were asking me, are nakshatra and zodiacs, are they linked, or did someone from outside gave us the zodiac? No, so this is like continuous civilization. You would see the concept of both the nakshatra and the zodiac in here. So that's something I wanted to show you. Are there any questions? Can we move forward, or?
No, thank you. No, it's
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
no, thank you for this. Yeah, really fascinating and eye-opening. So thank you. Yeah, no, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and one thing to notice is like this is more than 2,800 and probably even more. So we are talking about 4,500 to 5,000 years old seals having Vedic concepts on it. Yeah. So I think when people say about Aryan invasion theory, they should relook into these concepts as well, because it looks like this has been like a continuous civilization where you have, the concept of fractals, the concept of Fibonacci, the concept of golden ratio, the concept of nakshatra, the zodiac, and everything has been merged together. Yeah. And I have taken another few slides, and this is like all across the globe now. This is one of the seals from Harappan civilization. This is the Pashupati Nath seal. You see Shiva as Pashupati, and you see he is always associated with a deer, like in the story that we saw about Shiva. And this is one of the flows that was found in Pompeii. So just to give a background, there was a city in Italy, which you might know, like this is the ancient Pompeii. It's I think it's one century, the year 101. That's where it was flourishing, and there was like a big volcano which erupted, and it covered the entire city. But recently in 1900s, this was excavated. Yeah. So even 2000 years back, people like ancient Romans, they drew this, you see the scorpion, and somebody is chasing the scorpion. So they had this concept of nakshatra in there as well. Yeah. And this figure from Copenhagen is called as Sarnuos. He is similar to Pashupatinath. He's always seen with a deer, and Shiva is associated with Saturn. So you know the Karta and Karak. So Shiva might have been the Karta, and the Karan might have been, Saturn. And Saturn again has the other Karak call as, the figure that we saw in the previous slides. I don't know if you remember. So this is like the Ouroboros. So Rahu and Ketu in his hands. Yeah. So you would see all of these concepts are linked, and this he was like prayed in Copenhagen like way before, like 2000 years old. Is like he was being prayed, and this figure we found in Italy. So there were like a lot of cave arts that have been found with nakshatras. This, mind you, like this is more than 11,000 years old, and it has got the concept of Shiva holding a deer, and the same concepts in there as well. Sorry, this hasn't been very clear in the screenshot, but you can Google it later. It's called as National Park of Naquin in Italy, which has got the story from mythology. Should we go forward? Yeah. I can't hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, again, just really interesting, that these similarities in these various, parts of the world. So yeah, thank you. And I am aware of the time, though, it's just, although I love this, I know I think we're probably coming up to 1.5 hours. So although I love this, though, but then maybe for the next lab we can carry on from here.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we can,
Yeah.
although it's really is so fascinating. But thank you so much, Alka. It's as always,
Sure.
it's been wonderful
Sure.
to hear you speak and hear all this knowledge that you have,
Sure.
and that you've gathered from your own research and your understanding. So thank you so much, and
Sure.
hope
Thank you.
the audience has found this interesting as well. So yep, and looking forward to the next one. Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Namaste.
Bye.
Namaste all. Bye.
Namaste. Bye. Bye.